Hi, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brunch and TV. I'm Melanie, and my only goal with this channel is to help you plan your wedding with a little more ease. Today, I'm so excited because we're interviewing one of my friends, Bobby Macik. He is a real estate agent here in Los Angeles, and he is sharing tips on being a first time home buyer and what the market looks like right now and what it will look like post COVID and all the protocols that real estate agents and buyers and sellers have put in place to keep everyone safe. So please enjoy this interview. Hi, Bobby. How are you?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
Good. I just did your introduction, but I'm sure you can do a better one. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Bobby Macik. I work for Compass Real Estate in Los Angeles on the Sunset office. I'm originally from Ohio, the Midwest, but I've been in LA like 15 years now. Yeah, and I've been in the real estate industry pretty much my whole life. Like my parents flipped houses and got involved in all of that. My brother's a contractor, so not only do I know about real estate, I know about like, the construction portion of it as well, remodeling, flipping, all of that stuff. So I've always had a passion for it. Got my real estate license a couple of years ago. Partnered with my friend Timothy Chu at Compass as well. He's been in the business like 20 years, so our combined knowledge of like everything kind of helps. I do like the techie stuff. He's more of like the old school, so it's a good combination of everything. So
Yeah. Yeah. And what areas do you focus on?
pretty much all of LA. Like as a newer agent, I've had my license for a couple of years. I studied real estate for the last couple of years, so it's always kind of had my finger on the pulse. So all like over LA. I live like in the West Hollywood area. Timothy lives in Sherman Oaks. We cover anything from like Woodland Hills. We just did something in Yorba Linda. We were up in Pasadena, Tahunga. I did something
Oh,
in
wow.
yeah, like it's all over Los Angeles. Like it's I like to personally choose everywhere. Like my neighborhood is West Hollywood. Like I farm this area. I know this area really well. West Hollywood, Hollywood, all of that, Hollywood Hills, uh,
Mhm.
all over Los Angeles.
Oh, nice. Okay. And then, so what is the process of working with a home, like a first time home buyer?
Mhm. I actually love this process just because it's somebody who's new and green and they have a million questions, and I love educating. And it's also like has a certain sense of like excitement about it because they're not investing, they're creating a home,
Right.
they want to build memories in a life. I always I would say my advice for a first time home buyer is always look at your financials and get pre-approved, especially in today's market. Because of COVID and because of the restrictions that people have on entering people's homes, a lot of listing agents require a pre-approval letter before they even go into the home to show it because they want to know that you're solid, you're secure. And I think that any new buyer, it's good to know your financials anyway. Whether you're going to buy a house or not, you should know what you qualify for. I
Right.
work with several private lenders, banks that I can refer to you via email, whatever. It's free, it's fast, and it's if you can't. I always say if you can't afford to buy a house now, or you want to put down more of a hefty down payment, it's good to get those plans in motion. Like I have a bunch of first time home buyers clients that I work with, and they're like, okay, I spoke with the lender, and we're shooting for next year because I'm going to get my
Mhm.
portfolio together and all of that. So, yeah, first step with working with the first time home buyer is definitely getting a pre-approval just to kind of get your finances. And then obviously, like I have a ton of materials that I give you as a first time home buyer, like cheat sheets, the process of escrow, because you get a pre-approval. Then we set up collections for you in terms of looking at homes across Los Angeles. I have a free app I give you. It's similar to like Zillow or Realtor.com, but it's better because it's what I use. So
Okay.
they don't keep things on the websites like Zillow, Realtor.com, all that stuff. Sometimes they keep inventory on their websites to drive customers because I have a million houses and some of them were sold a little while ago, but it's I get so many people look at this house, look at this house. A lot of clients, I'm like, oh, that's sold, but it's showing
Oh,
on those. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. But I have a free app that I always give all my clients, and then we can exchange properties. So like,
oh,
oh,
nice.
kind of like an Instagram where we set up it's called the collection. I love Compass. I've been with several agencies before, or a few agencies before. And Compass I love them because not only are they growing and expanding, they have a huge tech in the back end with
Hmm.
like all their resources. So makes it really user friendly. So basically pre-approval, then we look at homes. I talk about the offer process. I'm pretty much there every step of the way to make you not stressed. It should be a great experience. You know what I mean? Like so many people are stressed and all that stuff. It's like, we enter escrow. There's stuff I have to do, inspections, setting all that up. I work with the lender. There's a lot of moving parts. So, pretty much my advice for first-time home buyers: get a pre-approval and then talk to me, and we go down the rabbit hole of like it's the biggest purchase mostly that pretty much that
Yeah.
somebody's gonna do. So
Like
it's all
besides a wedding, yeah. It's like
it's true. A lot of changes in your life. Yeah, like expensive. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's a ton of moving parts. Planning a party, a wedding. There's all those caterers and florists and rental
Right.
and all that stuff. Similar to buying a house, like you have to like know the area. You have to like do comps. You have to get the loan pre-approval, then the loan approval, and then the inspections for the home. And you want to make an educated purpose. I love it. Like I'm a huge multitasker, so I love having a gazillion balls in the air. So
Right.
and I love working with first time home buyers just because it's a certain type of like, excitement and, all of that stuff. So,
Yeah, it's like that nervous energy trying to figure out where you want to live and where you're going to lay your roots. Yeah, that seems very exciting. It's like the same thing on weddings too, because they've never done that before either. So it's
yeah.
exciting to walk someone through that process.
And everybody wants something different. Like whether
Right.
this is a first time home for us, but we're going to stay here for 5 years, then we're going to sell it and get the equity to buy a new home, or we're going to live here and then rent it out when we move, or we're going to have our first baby here, or we're going to,
Right.
everybody wants something different. And I think that's what you can't get from, digital agents and things like that, because we're moving into that kind of direction. It's a
Mhm.
personal experience, just like a wedding. Like you want to feel comfortable with your wedding planner. You want to like be able to call them and not be self-conscious of questions that you ask. So many of my first-time home buyers are like, I feel stupid, or this is like a crazy question. I was like, no, it's not. Like honestly, like and I learn stuff from every client that I have, like, and if I don't know the answer, I'll get the answer. I'm a huge researcher, especially like LA being such a huge market. A home is going to sell differently in Tahunga than it is in Santa Monica, like
That's very
that's
true.
little pockets all over. So it's a fun experience.
Yeah. And so what other ways has COVID affected the market? Like with interest rates or getting loans, has it made it easier, harder? Like what effects has it had?
I feel like COVID, I mean, we all know it. It's affected every aspect of our lives. We can't do
Right.
open houses. We can't do, like a simple home showing is now rules and regulations, and we have to sign certain forms before you enter a house and all of that stuff. In terms of the market as a whole, every market's different in every city and every state and all that. Across the board, the market's been booming. It's been on fire because you have these people that are, they have job security and they have money, so they want to take advantage of these low interest rates. So the interest rates are lower than they've been in a very long time. With low interest rates means that somebody who's renting can probably get a mortgage for the same amount as their rent. Like I tell all of my friends in the same apartment for like 15 years, my rent's so low, I'm not going to buy. But I'm like, think about the money that you've put in that rent for the last 15 years. If that was going towards a mortgage, you would have so much equity. You would have, I mean, there's so many moving parts to it. I feel like a broken record when I say this to people, because owning real estate, you own something. You can pull from it on a mortgage, you can sell it and make money.
Mm-hmm.
COVID has, on the grand scale of things, it's made interest rates drop to an all-time low. So people who are secure within a job are buying, but at the same time, inventory's really low. It's lower than it's been in like the last 10 years. So you have all these buyers fighting and competing against each other for different markets. So
Wow.
it's changed the landscape in terms of the protocols and procedures we have to do to show homes, but it's also sifted through the looky-loos and, filtered out people that weren't really serious.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the interest rates being so low and with inventory also being so low, it's created kind of this competitive market, which can be exciting in its own right. You just kind of, me as an agent, I have to be like on my toes a little bit more. So like
Yeah.
client and buyer and everything is a different story. So I work with, one-on-one to help people. What's the best area? What's the best, like all of that. So
Right, right. Okay. And then, so what advice would you give first-time home buyers in this post-COVID, like in COVID, post-COVID world that we're going to be entering in?
hopefully, like soon to be posted.
Yeah, I was wishful thinking, but
We're moving in the right direction. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
hopefully. My advice, I always people ask when is a good time to buy. A
Mhm.
good time to buy is different for everybody. I feel like, yes, interest rates are super low now, so it's a good time to buy.
Right.
Do you have job security? Do you have a savings? People often ask, like, how much money do I need to put down on a house? And that is just, it's not a sales pitch when I say everybody's different. Let's have a talk about it, because I'm not trying to
Mhm.
sell you. I'm not trying to, like, I tell all my friends this and they're like, wow, you sound like a real estate agent. I was like, I'm just giving you facts. Like,
Right.
I'm not a pushy agent. I'll be pushy when it needs to be, like in terms of like contracts and negotiating, and I know how to do all of that. But when
Mhm.
it comes to my clients, I'll send you stuff. I'm not going to like pressure you to do anything. Like, I've had so many clients that have backed out of deals because they didn't feel comfortable, and I have to do whatever they want to do, and I'm totally cool with that. So I feel like an advice I would give is start now. Like, even if you're not planning on buying for another year, you'll know the market. You'll know your finances. Get pre-approved. Know your finances now. Like, know what neighborhoods you want to move in. It's because for me it's fun. So this is my life. This is my bloodline. This is my breath. Like, I do this all day. I've become like kind of like a robot, boring person, but I feel like I really like it. Like, I love it. So
Right.
around neighborhoods just to look at houses is fun for me. So I feel like it's never too early to start. I mean, if you ever want to buy like a home, why not just like dip your toe in? I think you should talk to a lender. Like, it's super, like a 30-minute phone conversation or an email. Like, my advice is just start now. Like, why not? Do you want to buy a home one day? Yeah. Like, I got into real estate because I want to be a real estate investor, and I want to, like, I'm going to buy houses, and so I want to know like the ins and outs. So
Right.
my advice is don't be afraid of it. Like, it's not scary. Like, if a lender tells you you're broke and you can't afford anything, then they'll put a plan in place that you can start to in the future. I mean, people are just so nervous about buying a house when it should be a fun, smooth process. And if you have a good agent who's not pushy, and then it will be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I talked to a lender, I was like, oh, not ready yet, but but now I know what I need to do to get there.
And people are so self-conscious of their finances, and like so self-conscious of like the world of these big budget items. And it's just like,
Right.
no, like everybody's different. And I feel like just take it one day at a time.
Yeah, for sure. So, how much money on average I know this goes with your question that you just said that everyone's different, but on average, how
Mhm.
much money do you have to put down on a house?
So yeah, like it's per person, but I feel like
Okay.
I always a good hefty people are like, do I have to put 20% down? It just depends. Like, I mean, you're gonna have certain loans that 0% down. I mean,
Right.
a VA loan, all these like government, first time home buyers loan, FHA loan, like all these stuff, you can put zero money down. You could put
Oh,
3%, 5%, 10%, 20%. Um, you have to know actually the market that you're in as well. Like, I had a client that was putting 5% down, super qualified, steady job. It was a couple. But it took us a while to get an offer accepted because so many other people are putting 10% down or 15%
right.
down. And my clients like, but we are qualified. We're putting 5% down. I was like, when you're a seller and you're trying, because I work with sellers obviously as well.
Mhm.
When I have like five uh, offers in front of me, and one of them's 20% down, and one of them's 5% down, it makes a difference because the 20% is more appealing to me as a selling agent to accept, because it shows that they're stronger financially.
Right.
You go through escrow when your offer is accepted. You still have 30 days to go through escrow. Your lender is still going to like approve your loan officially. There's a lot of paperwork and all that stuff that goes into it. So I would say as much as you can put down, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you can't put anything down, I don't want to discourage you from not trying to do it, because you can buy a house with zero money down. Your mortgage is going to be a little higher, and you might
Right.
have PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, if you don't have at least 80%, equity or 80% loan, then you're gonna have to pay a little extra insurance. It's a whole system that a lender and myself can explain to you. But the question is, it really, the more the better, obviously, because you're gonna have a better aggressive offer, but
Right.
you put 0% down if you really want to get into a house. And honestly, I think that's kind of a good, if you put 0% down and you're able to get into a house, yes, your mortgage is going to be higher, but again, you're gaining equity. Your value of your house is going to increase over time. So yeah, it really does just depend. If you don't have 20% down, don't think you can't buy a house. But if you
Right.
can't put as much down, you should.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know you could put like nothing down on a house. It's like
I mean,
kind of like a car. You can do the same thing with a car, put zero down, but your payment is going to be a lot higher than it would be if you had money down.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And so this next segment is our asking for a friend. So I asked on Instagram what questions everyone had for you, and I have three.
Uh,
So the first one is, what's the process of starting a home loan? That would be talking with the lender, right?
yeah, the process of starting out. So I like to know a little about everything, like enough to be
Mhm.
dangerous. So I know enough about home loans to give advice and to lead you there. I'm not a
Okay.
lawyer, I'm not a lender, I'm not an escrow officer. So I know enough to be dangerous, but I feel like I don't ever like to say this is this and this is that, but I can tell you, like I have casual conversations with people all the time. But yeah, the process is going to be first talking to a lender. You can go to banks, you can go to private lenders. Private lenders tend to have less red tape, especially in LA. A lot of people don't have stated income, which means they're, graphic designer, they don't have they don't have a W-2, like
Mhm.
the tax thing. So it's good to work with a private lender sometimes too, because they have different ways of working with you. Yeah, the first step is talking to them. They'll ask basic questions, your taxes, your income, all of that stuff. So first step is that.
Okay. And then the next question is what to look for when shopping for a house.
Ooh, it also depends. Well, I guess it depends on what your needs are. You know what I
Right.
mean? I have clients that want fixer uppers and
Hmm.
they want to go in and remodel it to make it themselves. Or I have clients that want a certain area, so they're willing to take a smaller house because it's like a more expensive area. Do you want a
Right.
condo? So a condo, you'll have an HOA fee, which is an added fee to your mortgage, but you don't have to worry about the roof or the landscaping and all of that stuff. Then you have people that want a single family home because you don't want the HOA and you want to deal if the plumbing, if the roof leaks or something, then you would deal with it yourself. That's why I love and working with clients, whether you're a buyer or seller, like you want like different things. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you, people are, I've had people pay over asking, because it's like that's what they wanted, and then you have
Right.
people on a deal, and it's like, and also it depends on the market too. Like it's harder sometimes to find a good deal. Like that's why people are like, oh, if I'm gonna wait till this is maybe a little off topic, but this is a good thing to touch upon. A lot of people say I'm gonna wait for the market to drop. Houses and prices are gonna drop, but if prices drop in houses 10%, but interest rates go up like a quarter, your mortgage, you're still gonna be paying more.
Right.
Yeah, stress this enough. So many people are like, the housing market is gonna, but the bubble's gonna burst. People are gonna like, and prices of houses are gonna go down. Like, yeah,
Right.
cool, but if prices go down 10 or 50,000, but interest rates go up, it really is about like the interest rate. You're going to be paying more in mortgage. So it's like the best time to buy is whenever you want to buy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it depends. If you're an investor with a lot of cash and you're going to pay cash, you don't have to worry about interest rates. If you're,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So that's a good thing to think
I have a question of my own that I was just thinking about while you're answering that one.
of.
Are is renting to own still a thing, or is that like a thing of the past?
Yeah, like I said, every transaction is going to be different.
Mhm.
So land contracts or things like that, like in today's market, I haven't heard about it lately because everything's so competitive.
Right.
But my parents did it. Like to get a loan, they had to wait a year for whatever reason. So the owners agreed, but they moved into the house and they paid rent for a certain amount of time, which went towards the mortgage. Then when they qualified for the home loan, they got the home loan. Like
Okay.
a lease back, things like that. Like, oh, if I'm a seller and I'm selling my house and you're a buyer and you say, I want to buy your house, and I'm like a seller and I say, cool, you can buy my house, but I have to live here for 3 more months. So you can write it into the contract that the title will be transferred to you, but now it'll be a lease back to where I'll be
Oh,
renting the apartment. So
okay.
rent rent to own is definitely not popular, but like I said, anything's possible. You just have to like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's in this market, things are less possible, like 0% down, rent to own, like all that stuff. But it's not as common because there's a lot of cash buyers out there too. Like some people, you know, have large chunks of money that they can
Yeah.
like be like, I'm gonna pay this and this, so yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so our third asking for a friend question, our final one is, what are the most affordable cities to buy in right now?
Ooh, affordable. See, that is kind of a
Catch 22. It's like,
yeah, because it depends on what you think affordable is and like what
right.
you that's it, like the whole spectrum of like LA's the one of the most, or San Francisco, LA, and New York, like all these cities that property values are so high, but also people are making more money. So you know what
Mhm.
I think I know that New York and LA in 2020 was the New York City and LA were the two cities that people moved out of
Right.
mostly. And I know that Florida was the state that people moved to mostly for several reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of cities, like I know Atlanta is a huge city that people are buying in. It's affordable still, and it's growing, especially with like the movie industry, entertainment industry, and things like
Right.
yeah, like and it's when you look at a big city like Los Angeles, it's like you can't say Los Angeles because it's like, oh, West Adams and south of Culver, like that's like the up and coming, like that's affordable now, but it won't be in a
Right.
couple of years. So you have to look at individual neighborhoods as well. So
Right. Like the little pocket neighborhood. So Culver City and West Adams are the up and coming ones right now.
yeah, West Adams, I mean, people have said like Culver City's been up and coming, Silver Lake's been up and coming for like
Oh,
so
yeah.
long. Frogtown and all of that, like those areas, Highland Park, Eagle Rock,
Mhm.
all of those are like up and coming. But I feel like, especially Highland Park, I've sold a couple there recently. It's just every street's different. You know that living in the city, like
Right.
little pockets and all that stuff. And West Adams has kind of been up and coming for a while now.
Oh,
Like
that's true.
values are like increasing with the metro line. You have to look at trends of the city. The metro line's expanding. Certain areas are getting gentrified. Even like downtown LA, the last 10 years with the new breweries and like the
Mhm.
refurbished old buildings that are now condos and things like that. It's you know what I mean? They always say like buy the ugliest house in the nicest neighborhood because it's gonna appreciate with that like small house. But the neighborhood's already nice. So it's like how much is the neighborhood gonna go up? So you just have to look at all those, have your finger on the pulse of like certain things, like the metro line's expanding. So that's probably gonna like that area is gonna probably like be better to buy cheap now, but you know what I mean?
Right,
So
right. It's just going to go up in value, especially
exactly.
as like the arenas open and everything like that.
That's why West Adams and things like that has been like, yeah, because now there's all that newness coming to
Mhm.
certain parts of the city. It just,
Right.
you have to, if you're an investor, think like that. If you want a home to protect your family, like in a nice neighborhood, because you're going to have kids or the school districts, like that's why, I mean, partially why, one of the many reasons why I like real estate is that every person client transaction is personal. So you have to really get into what your client wants and needs, like you
Yeah.
have to, oh, this person wants an investment. This person wants to raise a family. This person, so.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Thank you for answering those. I'm sure our friends will be very happy about that. So, to get a little personal, who inspires you?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, I mean, it's corny to say my parents and all that stuff, but I feel like inspiration comes with everybody. Like
Mhm.
I, it's, being a real estate agent, you have to be self-motivated because I'm my own boss, my personal assistant, my transaction coordinator, all that stuff. I think I find inspiration in like everybody. Like I see some of these agents that are they're go-getters and they're aggressive and they can be mean sometimes. I'm like, wow, their work ethic is amazing and they work all day, every day. And then I'm inspired by their work ethic. But then I'm see other agents that are like, you know what? This is my life. I'm selling what I want to sell. I'm financially stable enough to like, and I'm inspired by that. Like I feel like you take inspiration from different parts of different people. Like I can be a workaholic and I work hard and a lot, but like, who knows, in 15, 20 years, I don't want to be. I want to like, spend my time on other stuff.
Right.
So I think if you know yourself enough and you can pick and choose what you like and want from other people, I think inspiration's everywhere. Like I
Yeah.
just just life in general is inspiring. If you want, to work every day all day, then do that and look to people that do that. Find your tribe, find your energy, not to sound cheesy, but it's true. Like
No, that's good advice.
no, I mean, inspiration's everywhere. Like my parents
Mhm.
inspire me for like having kids at a young age and, working their way up their life. And, my brother inspires me for building houses from scratch and, like all that stuff. And, my business partner inspires me for like, he works every day, all day, it's like,
Right.
it's the pivot of your life and, inspiration's everywhere. I feel like people maybe not look for it because they're afraid of it or they're, the motivation of it all. And like, you have to put the work in. So
Right, for sure. So, what is your mama I made it moment? That moment that you're like, yeah, I got this. Like, what is one of those moments?
I know it's a funny question because I still got bills to pay. So I mean, I definitely, I feel like when I moved to LA a while ago, it was like I was first generation college. I was, the only one of I have a huge family, so I'm the only one who moved out of, my small town, let alone Ohio. So it was like moving to LA and kind of establishing myself and learning and growing and like that was like I'm making it. I made it. I'm financially stable. But I think when I got into real estate officially, like because it's always been a part of my life. Like even like my first sale was like 1.2 million, and it was just my mom's like, "You made it," and I was like, they're in Ohio, so they're like, "What did you buy like a university or you know what I mean? Like, did they buy like an office?" But I was like, "No, like that was like a house," and they're like, because they're the property values that everything is just totally different. But
Right.
it's nice to like that was my notch on my belt. That was a mom like like I'm fine, I pay my bills for the next couple of months type.
Mhm.
I think like made it is so I made it. I'm mentally stable. I'm financially stable. I've traveled here. I've made that, like I made it. I'm always striving to like take it to the next level. Like I've
Right.
traveled a bunch, but I want to travel more. I'm financially stable, but I want to purchase more properties, like to feel proud of yourself, I think is like when you made it. And I feel like moving to LA, I was proud of myself. And then
Yeah.
my first house, I was proud of myself. Graduating college, I was proud of myself, So there's a lot of mamas I made it, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Cause I remember when I moved to LA, I was like, I drove here because it's only 8 hours away. And I was
Yeah.
like, the steering wheel's shaking.
I grew up in Ohio. Like
Oh,
my
you did?
3-day drive from Ohio, like
Mhm.
I remember like leaving my hometown and you just like crying. And
Uh-huh.
halfway through, you're like, I'm okay. And then like driving into LA, you're like, oh, I'm good. You know what I mean? It's just like, and then you spend the next, I mean, I told myself my whole first year here, I'm gonna give it a year. I'm gonna try it.
Mhm.
The LA is a constant flow of people moving in and out, and everybody that I
Right.
met my first year like moved back. And I didn't move here for college, so I didn't have like that built-in system of like I finished college here, but I took some time off. But I feel like yeah, like that, moving from
Mhm.
smaller town areas. So it's like, yeah, it's an emotional thing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
At any age, it's hard, but
Yeah. Yeah, I moved here after college and I only knew like my sister lived here, but she
Mhm.
lived here for work. So
Yeah.
I didn't really know anyone besides her. I'm like, okay, well, here we go.
Did you know the city? Like, did you know where you wanted to
No,
live? Yeah, like it's
I didn't know anything. Like I thought I knew Santa Monica from movies that I'd seen, and I knew Hollywood, but also from movies. Like so anything I knew of LA was from a movie. Like because I'd been to LA, but that was for basketball games. And like we would sit on a bus and then drive to the gym and then play and then drive home. So I didn't really know much of anything.
yeah. No, honestly, like when I moved here, I had been here once before,
Mhm.
And like I said, my family never been to California. My dad's a truck driver, so he drove here a couple of times. But honestly, like no, I didn't have a built-in system, like to
Yeah.
friends or whatever, to move out here. So it's like you just got to do it. I mean,
Yeah. And we're still here.
I know we're still here. My parents still ask me though, when you moving home? I'm like, I've been in LA like 50
Oh,
years. Like
yeah.
I'll have a house. I'll buy a house, because you can buy a house for a nickel in Ohio.
Right.
Like you can buy, hopefully I was like, oh, I visit like 3 times a year, so it's not like, and they visit me out here, so it's,
Yeah, every time I go back home, you still like LA? I'm like, I've lived there for like almost 10 years now, but yes, I still like it.
I know my dad's like, we'll turn the basement into an apartment if you want. I was like, so you want me to move back to LA and move back into the house? Like that's what you're asking me? Like,
Right.
I'll
Yeah, my mom's waiting for the day. I'm like, I'm gonna move back home.
I was like, you have like several other kids.
Right, right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's true. So what are your operating core beliefs and like what is your driving force in your life?
I feel like as a functioning person, my operating core beliefs are honestly like it sounds cheesy, but like live each day and just really appreciate and grow and learn. I've always been like the type of person that tries new things and hustles and like, you know what I mean? You have to take time for yourself, your alone time, all of that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I just think professionally, the core beliefs are, I feel like if you want to get into real estate, I mean, I guess if you want to get into any profession, don't do it for the money because there's so many factors that go into it. Obviously, if you're a doctor, don't do it for the money because you should like save people's lives. And, same thing with real estate. Like it's like a big, not same thing, but similar, like with any profession, teachers, you shouldn't do it for anything but loving to teach or, I feel like my core beliefs are that I really do love real estate. I love, if you're looking for an investment property and you want to make money, if you're looking for a home to build a family, I was very lucky enough to grow up in an environment where it was a stable, loving home. My parents are, married 45 years. I have great brothers and sisters, 30 plus cousins. So I really value that. I really value life and love and like family.
Mhm.
And I don't think I could have been able to move to LA like we talked about it if I didn't have such a strong sense of that because I knew that being out here by myself, they were always there if I needed them. So my
Right.
core beliefs are really, you really do just have to professionally, you have to work hard. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but you really do. Like you have to like enjoy your life and do what you want to do on any aspect. If it's traveling, if it's, whatever career you choose, live your life, as much as you can, balance net, like, oh, if I went out and I drank or went to the restaurants or traveled and blah, 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 let's balance that with like work and do extra, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Professionally, my core beliefs are you really do have to work hard, you have to pivot, you have to sacrifice. But if you're sacrificing your happiness, you got to change your life. Like
Yeah.
if you want a career, your career should be what you like. I mean, love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's what everybody says. But it's like
You work all the time when you love what you do.
like, I mean, if I loved it and I was poor, I'd probably change it. You know what I mean? Like, I just, you have to love what you do to stabilize, have a stable life. You know what I
Right.
mean? My core beliefs are that it really is. It's just, it's that simple, but it's harder to like create that. I understand because
Mhm.
obviously, like I said, I got bills to pay. I'm not the richest person in the world. I'm not the poorest person. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm rich, honestly, with family and love and things like that. And those are my core beliefs. Like, I really value my friendships. I really value everything's an investment. Your friends, your family, like all that stuff. So, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's good.
um,
Okay, so I have a game where we share unpopular opinions. So it can be anything that might be an unpopular opinion, but you completely stand by it. So what is your unpopular opinion?
oh, are you gonna do one too? No,
I mean, I could.
You said we.
I could do one too. But you go first.
I don't want to get all that. Unpopular opinion.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess like because it depends. This last year, it's been a rough year with like COVID, and people are like you have people saying it's fake. You have people saying masks don't work. You have people
Mhm.
saying I've locked myself in my house for a year. Like all this stuff. I guess an unpopular opinion, because it depends on where you're at, would be just to really adhere to like science and masks and like, I mean, I'm from a small town and, I have a lot of family members that are, across the spectrum, and you really have to like listen and respect and understand everybody's wishes. And I feel like
Mhm.
wearing a mask has been so politicized, and, it's a shame that it has been. But it's basic. You can't go into a restaurant with wearing a shirt. You can't drive your car without wearing a
Right.
seatbelt. You like it, and that's permanent stuff. Like this is just a temporary thing. Like just wear a mask. It's like there's all types, there's all fittings, there's all sizes and shapes. You know what I mean? Like if it feels uncomfortable, maybe try another one. Like I think wearing a mask it can be, and I'm saying in general, I think it's not an unpopular opinion because people are doing it, but in a
Right.
lot of ways it is, and people are just like, it's my right and it's my thing and it's my
Oh
best.
gosh.
And I think that like I wore a mask always to protect other people. Like at the end of the,
Mhm.
I'm healthy and, I'm not in an age bracket where it's, as affected, even though everybody
Right.
from all ages has passed away and gotten sick and all of that. But the target demographic, I'm not that. So I always thought about wearing it to protect other people. And if that
Yeah.
sounds cheesy and makes me weak and whatever, then I am, because I think that I always wore it because I thought about the nurses and the doctors and those people. I mean, it really, I'm not even like it's just been it's a genuine thing. You wear it to protect other people. It's not hard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just wear it, and it's temporary. It's just for a little, while longer, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We're not saying like wear a mask for the rest of your life. We're not, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I guess that's a kind of an unpopular opinion in some areas.
In some, yeah, depending on where you live and where you land on the spectrum. Um, my unpopular opinion would be that LaCroix taste like cardboard.
What? Oh,
Like, I know you love a LaCroix, but they are terrible. Like,
I think because you're taken aback by like the fact that it's a slight flavor. You know,
no. I've tried everyone that you've recommended, and they're all horrible. I like the bubbly. I like just the Pellegrino,
you like
but
a little bit, yeah.
not LaCroix.
Really? It's a drink of the summer circa 3 years ago.
No, LaCroix. Then I was like, I don't understand why people like these.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never a flavored drinker. I'm
Yeah,
always water. I don't even like bubbly water, but now I'm like on the bandwagon of like
yeah.
the LaCroix, the Delta,
Sparkling.
yeah, everything.
LaCroix are terrible. That's mine. All right, so now I'm gonna have my Oprah moment. This
Mhm.
is where I ask you questions that Oprah asks all of her guests all the time. So my first one is one thing you wish you knew, everyone knew.
One thing I wish everyone knew.
Mhm.
Hmm. Um. Interesting. I wish everyone knew my name. I'm just kidding. I'm a great agent. You should use me and call me. No,
Oh,
I
that's
think
great.
Bobby Mason, Compass Roasted. No, I feel like I think I wish everybody knew. I think in general, like whatever. Sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry, I'm super popular. I guess everyone knows my name.
I guess everyone knows your name.
I feel like everybody in every industry, whether I guess you're like, because I went to school for psychology and theater, and I have a real estate, or I'm sorry, I have a psychology degree, and I did acting for years, like all that stuff. And I feel like I wish, you always think back, like, I wish I knew now, but I knew then type of vibe. And I
Mhm.
feel like every industry, especially real estate, like whether you're a doctor, teacher, I always talk about that. Everything's made up of people, and people have emotions and feelings and bad days and good days. And, you know, I think if everybody thought about that more in terms of like how we treat each other, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like when I was an actor and I would go into an audition and I would be so nervous and it would like hinder my performance because I'm like, these casting directors are judging me and blah, blah, blah. They're people. They have feelings, they have emotions.
Right.
want to hire you so their job's easier. You know what I mean? Like when I'm in real estate and I'm talking to an agent who's I'm trying to get their house from a client and they're like mean or like aggressive or blah blah blah. It's like they're people too. They have issues and problems and they have to sell this house for their career too.
Right.
I think I'll just take a step back and realize that everybody's made, every industry is made up of people, is made up of concerns and fears and hopes and
Mhm.
dreams and blah 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 to sound like cheesy, but yeah, like I wish I would have realized that at a younger age, because you just think it's you against the world and you
Right.
think that person talking crap about you, it's because they're mean. It's like, well, maybe they're going through a bad day, or like somebody cut
Yeah.
you off on the freeway. Look at that jerk. Well, maybe he's in a rush because he's going to be late to work and get fired. You know what I mean? Like, take a step back and a breath and live life and worry about yourself. Like you can't, it's easier said than done. Like you can't help your feelings and thoughts, but you can help how you act, like all the time. Like you can't always like help how you feel, like you're low and you want to sit in the
Mhm.
TV and Netflix and chill all day, or chill with yourself. But I feel like it's been a long COVID. It's a long pandemic. But I feel like, yeah, like you can have those days where you're like feeling low and whatever. But the world is made up of people, and people
Right.
are emotional creatures. Just like you have a bad day, and sometimes you say stuff you regret. I always give people the benefit of the doubt, and it's easier said than done. And we're not perfect all the time, and I'm gonna say stuff that's not perfect, and and as long as you realize and grow and learn and educate and just be the best that you can be every day. Don't stay stagnant, change, don't be afraid
Mhm.
to change. But yeah, I wish everybody just realized that, like that everybody has feelings in it, and we all know that. Like I'm not saying everybody's stupid and they're unaware, not in touch with their feelings and emotions,
Mhm.
but no, we don't practice that. You know,
Right.
like every doctor you talk to, every teacher you talk to, every wedding planner you talk to, like they have feelings, concerns, hopes, dreams, and concern, questions and like all that stuff. So I guess
Yeah,
that's,
for sure. And so, finish this sentence. When I'm 80, I will.
ooh, look like I look now. Not saying I look young now, no, I feel like when I'm 80, I will look, hopefully, still be active and vibrant and here for one. I
Mhm.
always say I'm gonna travel my whole life. I'm hope I'm like when I'm 80, I'll be FaceTiming my family and loved ones from like some remote island or like some new adventure.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I want to like have a closeness with my family that I've always had. If I have kids one day, if I get married one day, like all that stuff, I hope to build and grow. So
Mhm.
surrounded by loved ones, but if it's like through a FaceTime Zoom lens of like me traveling the world, then yeah,
Right.
that's because I love traveling. It's one of my passions. I love like exploring new worlds. But yeah, hopefully when I'm 80, I'll be looking back on my full life of all of my accomplishments, hopefully, and
Yeah, that's
uh,
good. That's good. So my last Oprah moment question and last question of our interview is, what is one thing you're grateful for right now?
Uh, just one. I'm just kidding.
I mean, you can give me more.
It's been a rough year. I'm grateful, for your friendship and like obviously like this year and this opportunity to, for this interview and all that jazz. But I feel like the basis of life, I mean, we're here, we're healthy, like that's honestly like we keep stressing, and this interview is very like, I guess, timely, but yeah, like this last year was hard for a lot of people. So I'm really grateful that my family's here. Like I've known people that have lost loved ones, even not to COVID, just like last year, this year,
Right.
life happens. So I'm really grateful to have my health, like to have my friends, to have my family, to have, a close knit of people. And I
Yeah.
haven't had any, extreme hardships in a while, so it's nice. I'm just grateful. The grassroots, the brass tacks of it all is like, not grassroots, brass tacks is like, yeah, I'm grateful to be here. That sounds cheesy, but honestly, like I have food in my fridge and clothes on my back and a roof over my
Yeah.
head. My parents have always taught me, like if you're here and able-bodied and like I'm not in the best position in the world, but I'm not in the worst position in the world. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful for
That's good. Well, I'm grateful for you. And thank you for letting me interview you for Brunch and TV.
Oh
And
yeah. I appreciate it. Honestly, like I'm so proud of you for everything that you've been doing, knowing you for years now. Like it's such a great resource you're doing. It's like I mean it's exciting. I love party planning too, and I love wedding planning and all that. And I know how hard it is
Mhm.
having worked in that industry as well. And I'm so proud of you for doing that. Like you really and you're so organized and your style, from your style to your organization to like all that stuff, you really have a gift. And I'm glad you're finally like you're utilizing it, you're taking it to the next level. And I only wish you like the best because I know that you're really talented. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm about to cry. We got to go.
that was not open moment.
Isn't Bobby the best? I just love him. He's one of my dear friends, and he's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to real estate. I know we've talked about it. He's helps with everything. So if you need a real estate agent, please follow Bobby. I'll leave his information in the show notes. And if you have any real estate questions that you'd like Bobby to answer, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure he gets them, and then so he can reply to you and answer your questions directly. Or you can also send a DM too if you'd like to. All right, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brunch and TV, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.